Okay, we're good to go.
Okay, at 7:30, formal written advance notice is required by NJSA 10-4-1. Has been provided to this meeting at least 48 hours in advance of today, giving the time, date, and location, and to the extent known at the time, the agenda of this meeting. Such notice stated that formal action may or may not be taken. This meeting will be video recorded and will be broadcast for later viewing for the public. The notice was posted on the bulletin board outside the offices of the municipal clerk, reserved for this and other similar announcements, provided to the Suburban Trends, the newspaper designated by the Borough Council to receive such notices, and filed with the Borough Clerk. Can we stand for a pledge, please? Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we have a roll call, please?
Oh, I lost my... Okay. Mr. Quigley?
Here.
Ms. Novak?
Here.
Mr. Ross?
Here.
Mr. Siopa, absent. Mr. Kimberlin's absent. Councilman Deline?
Here.
Mr. Silverstein?
Here.
Okay.
Okay. First order of business is approval of the August 17th, 2023 meeting. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
And we have a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, have a roll call, please.
Okay. Mr. Quigley?
I wasn't here.
Present.
Sorry.
That's okay. Ms. Novak?
Yes.
Mr. Ross?
Yes.
Councilman Deline?
Yes.
And Mr. Silverstein?
Yes. Okay, we have two items of correspondence. Really, it's the same thing. Riverdale is changing some zoning at 4 Hamburg Turnpike, which is the property, first property on the right as you go into Riverdale, right next to the telephone building. I don't know if any of you guys read this. It was really kind of confusing. They can't build what's in the zone, so they're changing it to a residential zone, but yet it seemed to indicate that there was some potential hazard, environmental hazard with the property, but that's Riverdale, not us, so it's just some information.
Required by law.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, Executive Director's Report. Ben isn't here, but I can fill you in on a few things. On the Sujin project, the gas station across from the shopping center, he's received another letter from the county of Passaic, and there are some more conditions they want to put on the property, even though he thought it was cleared. So he's been working with them to try to resolve those. I think the major one, which I think the county has now decided they weren't correct on, is that there was another easement for a drainage pipe through the property. But he's working on that, so there's not much we can do about that right now. I had a conversation with Bob Beneke on the large project, on Vaskin's project. I think, no, I didn't report this because that was at the last meeting. They may be amenable to make the project smaller and reduce some of the height of that building. They're working on certain plans. I'm sorry, I didn't want to say it that way. They're working actually, I believe, on creating a model of the project that we can look at, as well as taking photographs, digitized photos, pretend photos, as to what the project would look from various points in the borough. So that's what's happening there. I also had a conversation in regard to the Washington building. You remember that? That comes back every couple of years. They're now under the impression that they never have to come back here. They can go directly to the planning board. I told them that that's not the case, that they have to come back here. We approve the projects and then pass it to the planning board. So that's what's happening with the projects that are in process, as far as I know.
One
Yes.
to add. We will be doing a groundbreaking next week for the county senior housing building. So that they will be tearing down all the property there for the next month, and then hopefully start building that. So that, that's moving forward. They have They've hired a group to manage the building. I forgot which one it would be, which one of them that does a lot of the nursing homes and senior housing. But you're all invited, there is a grand opening next Wednesday.
Okay. Do you want to report on your meeting with Meridia?
Oh, yeah, I had a meeting with Meridia today with the administrator, and we talked about, he needed some easements and things, which we knew about for what you guys said, and part of the redevelopment agreement that you guys have okayed was the repaving of Babcock after he's done with that. But we want to put that down in writing to make sure it's covered in case something was not happening, so we'll be adding that. And they need that little easement off the back in case there's an emergency and people have to get out, so they have to go through our property, so they need an easement for that, so we talked about that. And then the better news was, we were in negotiation with them, and you guys put the redevelopment agreement together, was to fix up the civic center, put the windows and doors and things. I think we've convinced them to replace the whole building now, which is great. We'll get a new building there. It'll be a stick building on top of the existing outside cement foundation. And then, I think between the council and the administrator, we can do our own setup in there. We can have what we want, like 2 meeting rooms, 3 meeting rooms. We'll have an upstairs storage, it'll be a bigger building, so that's a good improvement for the town, because we all know that building's in better days, so. And just by the way, we haven't been using it for the last 3 months, because we had a bad roof leak there, and some mold was growing, so we closed it down, and, we didn't want to put money into it, 30 or 40,000 into it, so.
Is now a good time to make Babcock Place one-way?
That's something you guys can make a recommendation, if you think that's something we think you want to do. I don't know how that works into the whole plan, I'd have to talk to the police department, and have them involved.
I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I think that's, Ben, do you have anything you want to bring to the board? I think I didn't know where you were, so I just did it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, just the presentations for the business that we're gonna have with the potential sale.
That's tonight.
Yeah, that was the only thing,
Okay.
you know.
Okay. Okay, before we start the 2 items on the agenda, I was remiss at the beginning. As you know, Lori Clinton resigned as,
No, I didn't know.
so you didn't know, okay, as assistant to the redevelopment agency. And I just wanted to take this opportunity to publicly thank her for the years of work she put in on this, her unfailing ability to keep us in the right direction. You have big shoes to fill, Carm, knowing more about this than probably all of us combined. And she just did a great job, and she will be missed.
Well said.
I'll miss you.
And at the same meeting, Carmela was appointed to take over. Good luck.
Congratulations. Welcome.
Good luck. Okay, new and unfinished business. We have no conceptual presentations tonight. First one is 261 Urban Renewal, that's Meridia. And this is, if you remember, one of the things they needed to come back to us was to show us the facade, the finish that was going to be put on the retaining wall. And that's what they're here to do tonight. So, come on up. Looks like brick.
Should I hand this over to you guys?
No, you can just, they need to be sworn in? No, okay. So, tell us what you're doing.
So basically, this is the brick exterior finish selection that we've chosen for the building,
For the building or for the retaining wall?
for,
The building and the retaining wall.
Oh, the building, okay, so
What's
the
gonna happen is the brick's gonna carry down the facade and then overlap onto the shear piles that we discussed. Remember, there was a little discrepancy on the exposure there.
Yes.
So what we did was we had one of our reps go out and check some of the buildings in the surrounding area because there's a lot of different brick color. And we found something that was comparable that would complement the downtown.
Mhm.
And it's a very neutral tone we found, and figured we'd come back to it and present it. I apologize on the delays in bringing it to you all, but it was a hard choice to figure out what to utilize here.
Okay. Well, I like the idea that, when we originally started talking about this, that retaining wall was going to look something different, and we all had different ideas, and you had some ideas that you were going to, put some stone on it and then maybe just paint it. But I think if it all comes down and is the same, it'll pretty much be invisible.
Correct. The goal is the topography of the land, the shear piles will cut down basically to the topography of the area, and then we will bring down the stone to clad it, and you will not see the sheet piles at this point.
And that's in the, right here. It's on the back.
That's-
But retaining wall, where's the,
Retaining, if you want to explain what the retaining
So
wall is?
the sheet piles, actually, because it's a recessed parking structure,
okay.
what winds up happening is we drove, I think there are 20 or 30-foot piles in to retain the whole circumference of the building. And then some of it was exposed outside, and it's basically envisioned metal, basically
okay.
saying, hey, here I am.
Right.
So what we decided was we'll bring the brick veneer straight down over it to a certain point where the dirt meets. Obviously, we have to keep a little bit of a gappage there, and basically clad it at that point. And then I know there was some concern in regards to the drive lane going down into the parking structure where it's going to be exposed, which you won't see it street side or off of Babcock or off of
You're just going to see it as you drive in.
You'll see it as you drive in, but we plan on, we have to seal the joints on it, and we are gonna paint it.
Okay.
So it would be painted with a direct metal paint, and, once again, spruce it up on the inside.
I thought that was going to go on that also.
That doesn't go on the inside of the building, that's on the outside of the building.
Okay.
Brick. So, the resolution to figure out on what to do on the inside was to basically paint it instead of cladding the whole perimeter of the inside of the building, which is how it was presented in the beginning.
Okay,
It was just more the exterior, which was the eyesore.
okay. Any questions?
The brick's not gonna be painted at any point, is it?
No, that is actually
just
the
kinda how it's
color.
appealing.
Obviously, we do know different pigments, you will see a little variation, but that is the color we are striving for.
Is there an issue with that sticking to the metal, or that's not an issue?
So what we're using is what we call, it's a thin brick material, so then there's a whole system that will get adhered to the piles, and then the brick gets adhered to that, so it's like a fastening system in theory.
Okay. Ken, any questions? No? Tom?
No, good.
Nothing? We're good.
Thank
Do you
you.
want to keep this, anybody want us to keep the brick?
Do you want it?
Yeah, I think we should.
We should-
Yep.
We'll just
Yeah,
take a
okay, well-
picture and, or what I could possibly do is get a picture for you.
What? You can do that.
Yeah, we'll put a couple pieces of brick on it, and then there's a couple other finishes on the
Yeah, let's do
rest of
that.
it.
Yeah, that's
That'd be
that's
better.
fine.
Yeah, let me want me to get
Thank
this
you.
for it?
Yeah.
That makes a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Please,
much
that's
better.
A little better.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Send us a digital copy of it too. Take a picture of it.
Yeah, I'll send a PDF version, I'll send it.
Thank you.
Okay, and give us a real board too. That'd be great. Great idea.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Perfect.
Easy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was easy.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, have a good night.
You too.
Okay, so you want to take a half-hour break? No, I'm kidding. Okay, next up is Compton 5 Associates Urban Renewal LLC, 223 Wanacue Avenue, Block 6300, Lot 34, approval of sale and transfer of, says RDA, but I don't think we're transferring the redevelopment agency. This is either the property or an interest in Compton 5. You guys will explain to us what you're doing. Have a seat, and we can start. I guess we have to, you are,
I am the proposed buyer.
oh, you're the buyer?
Yes.
No attorney here tonight?
He is an attorney as well.
Okay,
I'm not here as an attorney, but yes, I.
okay, so you both have to be sworn? No. No?
There's just a negotiation,
Okay,
negotiation,
No.
discussion.
okay. Will you have your name, please?
Yes, John, last name is Abdul Hadi, spelled A like apple, D like boy, D like David, E like Edward, L like Larry, Hadi, Abdul Hadi.
Okay. And just for the record,
Joe Musumeci, Musumeci.
okay. Tell us what you're planning to do.
Well, as you all know, unfortunately financially, no matter what I tried, I just couldn't handle it. And I was getting pressure from the lender, like you know, that I told you guys privately. So he reached out, we found through the construction guy that I was gonna hire that we talked about at that meeting, it was 8 months ago, whatever. He brought me John, and he's an established attorney, judge, and he's got projects, building projects, but I believe he actually sent a copy of one of the projects he did, just as a little background of what he does. And he's got the wherewithal and desire to start immediately, so I had no choice but to, at least I know the project's gonna get done, and the dream of where I've been in that building for 20 years is gonna be fulfilled. Unfortunately, it's not gonna be with me, but, that building does have a sentimental value to me. I've been there since 1997, so, and I did put a lot of money, and I had a lot of good years here, so I'm happy that I found someone that has the financial capabilities and the background to do what
Okay,
I ended up failing to do.
so are you buying Pompton 5, the entire interest in Pompton 5, or are you buying the property?
We're currently under contract to buy the property. However, our intention really is to assign the interest of the company to us. So in the end, this is going to be a purchase of the LLC of the company.
Mr. Brewer?
And the reason for that was just to avoid delaying the project any further, delaying the closing. So we just thought it was simpler and easier. We already have title back. We know the background and the history of the company, just to make sure there's no liens or issues. So I think, yes.
If I could take this in steps, is the title of the property going to transfer from Pompton 5 to you?
Well, no, the property is in Pompton 5 Urban Development's name, so we're selling our interest of Pompton 5 LLC.
It's not what you said, though.
Yeah,
You
that's
said
what-
you're buying the property.
We are currently under contract
Right.
as purchasers of the property, yes. So, but the intention is there's a condition in the contract that allows us to amend, I guess, the structure of the purchase from a purchase of property to a purchase of a entity.
Okay, well, so we need to know that, as Mr. Brewer will
Yes.
explain to you, because that's an important distinction as to whether you'll absolutely need approval here, but depending on how you do that, you may need to go to the mayor and council to get their approval also.
Well, that's why we were doing the transfer of interest of the LLC. Because I created that LLC, when I owned that building for 20 years, it was in a regular partnership.
I don't think we care where it
Yeah,
was.
but- No, but the
Doesn't matter.
ownership of Pompton 5 is an LLC.
Got it.
So if
And you're
they
the
buy
sole
the
owner.
LLC, then you have to prove that the ownership changed. Nothing changes on the agreement.
Don't tell us what we have to approve.
No, no,
I'm
no,
telling you what we're doing here,
No, I'm
okay?
not saying that you have to, I'm just saying that's what you're talking about.
No, we understand
No,
that that you have to be an approved urban development entity for this sort of project for the.
Which Pompton 5 is.
Correct.
Okay?
So we just thought it would be the easier approach to take on the entity than to purchase the interest of the entity in whole than to close on the property, close title on the property. So
Under-
title to the property will not change.
That's what we need to know. right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that's the first step. That's the first step.
First step. What's next that we need to know?
Need to know the name of the entity, so.
The entity's gonna be
Who
Pompton
will-
5.
No, who will be the owners, because Pompton 5 is the owner of the, is the designated redeveloper and has a financial agreement. The people that owned it and that signed on their behalf are no longer going to be there. So somebody is going to have to sign on the behalf who's purchasing the interest that will also then be subject to all the same obligations to undertake this project. So for me, need to know who's going to be signing an amendment to the redevelopment agreement indicating that someone else now owns it.
Yes. And we did submit a disclosure to Mr. Delisi.
So is it the two individuals?
Yes.
Okay. I'm understanding a little bit more.
Okay, so they'll, okay, I'm sorry. So they will be in fact, the owners of Pompton 5.
Yes.
Okay.
So does assigned mean owned? You said earlier, it's gonna be assigned to you, and now, does that mean ownership?
Yes. Of the
Okay.
company?
Yeah.
Yes, of the shares or the interest of the company, yes.
Right.
Okay, and the property's not changing, is not going to be held by another entity.
No.
So in effect, just to make it simpler, I think, for everyone, you're buying his interest in Pompton 5.
Sure.
You're buying him out of Pompton 5.
Yes.
It's the same analogy as, forget if it was an LLC, if it was a C corporation and he was 100% shareholder and that C corporation owned the property, John is buying the property for whatever number, he's buying the company, the shares of stock. He now owns the company, he now owns the property.
Got it.
Right?
That is
Okay.
easier, thank you.
Okay?
We figured it's the least disruptive approach to keep this structure intact the way it was.
Okay. So we're good with that? if that's
I'm
what
good with,
happens.
so that starts now the form, now just, it would be ultimately an amendment, should you all approve this, an amendment to like the third amendment to the redevelopment agreement, indicating the new owners of the entity, which would then be bound to the same extent, and any other conditions you may impose. But, so I'm working through it, I kind of know the form now. Timing, what are you looking, I don't know if there is a time crunch, if there's no time crunch for the approval and the signing of the amended redevelopment agreement, because we haven't had this information to prepare, so there's nothing ready to sign. There's a resolution that has some blanks, because I don't know what's going to come out of this. But on a timing basis, is there a need to get this done in a week, a month, 6 months, 3 months? What are we talking?
Yesterday.
Well, I mean, from Joe's side, of course, there's more of an urgency. On our side, we would like to close as soon as possible, but we want to make sure your board is comfortable with what you see and everybody has a chance to review what we're bringing to the table.
Yeah, and the
So we
biggest
would
thing,
like weeks, if that's, or a week or two, or a month. I mean, really on our end, we are prepared to close as soon as the board gives us the approval.
so for the biggest concern for the board is to make sure that the entity that's taking it on, you,
Yes.
will sign on and be bound by the same obligations. They're a governmental body, so they can only act when they're all together. They meet once a month. And there's not a written agreement here for them to approve. There's some discussion and it's going to be written up. So I'm just talking right now, what they would be able to do if they are so inclined, I don't know, is to allow an approval based on some conditions, that you actually sign an agreement that's going to transfer, so you're going to take on all those obligations and any other conditions, but someone's going to have, that's going to be prepared and approved. So that's what I wanted to talk about. They can't act like the guy out on the street who can just sign something. They can only act when they get together, so.
I totally understand.
Understood.
So what you're
Okay.
basically saying is that if we had another meeting in November is when they would be in.
That would be the easiest, mechanically, the way to do it, if there are some conditions that come out of this, yes.
Can I ask something? If there's not conditions, if they agree to everything, could there be a special meeting to have, and again, and I'm talking for a lot of reasons. Number one, financially for me, but number two, the longer they wait, they can't start to build, and their intention is to build, and it's getting to be winter. And I already tore it down 2 years ago, and I've gotten a lot of grief from it, so the more we
Let us talk through it and see where we're going to come out with this, okay? We may approve it with conditions, okay, in which case, that would be okay. But let's see where we go with this. Can you give us some, for the benefit of the board, give us some of your expertise in building similar projects like this, and something about yourself?
Yes, absolutely. So as Joe alluded to, I am an attorney. I also hold the position as judge, but that's not something I would really want to bring to your attention, although he mentioned it, and I saw your eyes open up. During the last 3 or 4 years, no, it's okay, no problem. I just don't want that to be used for any reason for your consideration. It has nothing to do with my qualifications here. But during the last 3 or 4 years, I have focused a lot on real estate investment. Me and my partners are wrapping up a multi-unit residential property in Patterson. Part of Patterson that borders Clifton. It's a very busy, bustling area. 15 residential units, a combination of 1 and 2 bedroom apartments. We're about maybe a month or a month and a half away from getting a final CO. Other than that, we have a number of multi-unit investment properties throughout Patterson and Clifton. So we've managed upwards of 20 to 30 tenants and leases that we deal with on a monthly basis. So I represent a lot of developers. I'm working actively on 2 more developments in Patterson. And Patterson is a hotspot for development. I'm not sure if any of you know, because of the incentives that are being offered there to develop. And we're building exactly to spec with what was approved by the respective boards that approved our projects. So we like to build luxury quality, as much luxury as we possibly could. From my view, I like to build in a way where I myself can live in an apartment. So this is not just a way to make a profit. Everybody, of course, looks to make a profit from the development, but at the same time, I do want to provide a quality service and a quality product for our eventual tenants. So really, and I provided a summary of our background. I'm not one of these big, Meridian down the street, just in full candor, but this is not the type of, in my opinion, the type of development that's so large scale that requires one of those big developers. But we do have the capability and the expertise to fulfill this project. And we are actually working with the builder that I understood was already approved to develop this project. And Joe is correct, he's the one that brought this project to my attention. So we're working with him, and we plan on using him for the development, and we are ready to start. I don't want to make any promises, but we are eager to start.
We may make you have some promises on that, because the thing has been vacant and been such a difficulty for the borough.
We are prepared.
The one property I know that I actually saw on Google Earth, which actually shows it being built, is the Michigan Avenue project,
Yes.
correct? What are the other 2 projects you're building in Patterson?
Where they're still in the planning and design stages. One is across the street from the hospital. It's also in a redevelopment zone from St. Joseph's Hospital. We propose to build 24 residential units and 3 or 4 commercial on Main. And the other is on 7th Avenue. That's a 30-unit, also mixed use, 7th Avenue in Patterson. That borders Haledon and Prospect Park. It's in between Patterson and Haledon and Prospect Park. That has already been approved for 30 units and one commercial on the ground floor.
Okay. The other properties that you have, and again, I'm just throwing this out there, please don't take any offense.
No.
The other properties, when I looked on Google, seemed to me to be basically 2 and 3 and 4 family houses.
Correct.
There's typical frame houses in Patterson.
Yes. I'm not trying to exaggerate my...
No, okay, I just want to make sure, okay. The other thing I noticed in the information that you sent, and I appreciate this, because the first bit of information was kind of sparse, and I appreciate you going back to do it. Your attorney in representing this is Peter Bray?
No, that's me.
That's you, okay. I noticed you did give us some financial information.
Yes.
Not much, but some. And I'm not going to disclose it other than that it was a 7-figure number, mid-7 figures. But my question is, assuming that number, and assuming that approximately half of it goes to buying the property, do you have your financing lined up yet to do this?
Yes, so my partner is not here at the moment. He's a day trader, so he just provided...
You didn't do so good today.
I don't know, maybe that's why he didn't want to appear today. He's drenched in his sorrow, but that's just one statement that he has that he was able to give me. So we actually, the Michigan Ave property, we funded the initial stages of it until we secured a construction loan. So we did not wait for a construction loan to be issued to us because we don't want to lose any time. And at that time, we were in the middle of the pandemic, and of course, construction was difficult, and prices on material was skyrocketing. So we had no choice but to start off. So we personally financed that, and now we are paying ourselves back from the loan that we received from the bank that's financing the construction. So we are prepared. There's more to that. If you need more, I can provide more. But that was just something because there was some pressure to get something over to your board.
So again, without disclosing the number, assuming that's a mid-7-figure number, if you were to take your net worth of both of you, where do you think that would be? Describing it like I did, would it be a 8-figure number, a mid-8-figure number?
With respect to
your total asset, what's the entity's total net worth that's going to be put into this?
There's definitely another number.
Yes, I would say at least 15 million.
Okay,
We have at our disposal 15 million.
okay, that you wouldn't need bank financing for
No,
everybody.
no, I mean, we don't intend to use the 15 million.
I get it, but
Yeah.
I get it. I get it,
So, I
but
mean, obviously, some of the biggest developers, they don't, use their own money to finance it.
no question.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Questions?
Are you gonna build exactly what he was gonna build?
To spec,
Perfect.
yes.
That
And,
takes
and,
care
and
of it.
honestly, I'm the type where if I see something where I can,
Tweak it better?
through my, networking and connections, if I can, upgrade an item, I will definitely upgrade an item. I like for somebody to see a building and say that's,
Yeah.
that's theirs, right?
Nice.
So,
Okay, Mike?
And I'm sure you're aware, because you looked at everything, but there's the ability in this project that's already in the redevelopment agreement, where you're buying parking spots from us.
Thank you.
correct?
Yes.
And there's something to think about, and I'm not saying you have to do this, but there's something to think about in that you're gonna need a staging area to build this project, because there's no available property on site to do that. So that's something we're gonna have to talk about a little bit with this board and with the town. Only because I have Meridian also building next door, and they're doing a little staging too. You might be able to work something out with your neighbors, you might be able to work something out with us, but I just want to keep that in mind, that you need a staging area when you're doing this. Okay?
Okay. All right.
Well, can I?
I don't mind exploring whatever options are out there, I guess, before, whatever the board decides to do with respect to the agreement.
Well, it's not in, I don't think the staging is in the agreement.
It is.
No, but one of the things that they're discussing are reasonable conditions, and I'm gonna throw out a reasonable condition could be, coming to an agreement with the borough on where material will be staged during construction.
It's gonna have to happen at some point. And let me just say, Meridian's doing that right now.
Yeah, no,
No,
I do
that's-
remember when I was doing the construction, I mean, that was the actual, we worked that out with Sal at the time, as a matter of fact, and I thought that's who we worked it out with. He get, where we fenced off the property for the staging area. I mean, that was all understood, that's how it was done.
You didn't fence it off on borough property.
Yeah, we did.
So I
Absolutely,
did talk to Sal today, that was the demolition.
yes.
That was a temporary thing. And I'm not saying it can't happen, what I'm saying is, I know the attorney we're using now, and we're going through this Meridian, is gonna want a written agreement easement about staging.
Oh, well, that's
So it's
something
in paper,
different.
so there's no
Condition.
confusion on how that works, that's all.
Yeah, no, well, okay, I mean,
Because this is a long term, when you're demolishing, it's a couple, month or two, and then you're done. This could be a year, so we gotta, look at that. And the other thing you have available to you, and I'm just saying this for him, because we're all from town, we know it. There's an empty lot to the right where the old cleaners were, that we kind of semi-own, EP is cleaning it up for us. They have a back area that could be flattened out. if you
which
go
one is that?
To your right of your building.
Looking at your building.
If I'm in
to
the back though, if I'm in
To
the
the
back.
left.
To the left.
Roth.
No, I know, but is it where the school is, or is it further? I mean, the only thing that's between us is,
It's right before the theater.
It's right before the
Right
theater.
before the theater.
Yeah.
If
okay,
you're-
it's further, it's
The theater's
past,
245 Wallingford Ave, this is 243 Wallingford Avenue.
Okay,
The
'cause I
old
wasn't
Wilkins.
sure where the clinic was, 'cause I don't
243.
know how far back, okay.
So what I'm trying to say is that back, there isn't, where that tree is there,
Yeah,
that's a dead property. There's nothing going on.
that I knew, but I don't know which property it was.
It might be something you want to look at.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's, you gotta work that out.
Yeah, 243.
It's a condition.
Yeah, exactly.
We have it as a condition. So, assuming we would approve this, when would you be ready to build?
To move on the project, I would say we can pull permits, I mean, from what my contractor, the one that we're working with now, we can pull permits, I don't want to misspeak, but, if it takes 2 weeks to pull permits, we'll pull permits right away.
Refresh my memory, are the plans approved?
No, they're still going back and forth, right? You're still fixing some little things.
Well, again, when we had that last problem, I spent $20,000 and redid the first floor because that's what he requested. June 5th, I handed the permits in. Because I believe I got a letter again, and I handed new permits in June 5th.
Plans, you mean?
The plans, I'm sorry, and I actually got the binder showing me how much the permits were gonna be. So they were looked at and they were calculated, and the only person I replaced was the one of the guys died. It was either the plumber or the electrician, so we had to replace that guy. But the 5 guys that were in the jacket are the same 5 people that they're using. I don't know what, I haven't gotten a review from
I
Sal.
can address that a little bit. And you're close, it's almost done, but part of this, the slowdown was the fact that you were behind on an escrow, and they weren't gonna do any work until the escrow was caught up. So they slowed down until you finally paid the escrow. Speaking to Sal, he said the plans are 95% done.
Okay.
Oh, but they're not fully approved?
No, they're approved, he just has to do a review. I mean, they were submitted.
And they're not, you couldn't build tomorrow,
No, I know, okay. I understand.
Right, that's fair.
right? You couldn't build
But
tomorrow.
I would say if now knowing we're having a builder who's ready to move, I don't see an issue with
I did come here the other day, but there was a sign he was gone until the 18th or something. Is he back now?
Yes.
Yeah, I was here with her the other day, paid the balance of that escrow.
You did, there's now a positive $296 balance, correct? I think,
Yeah, well,
something like that. You're also gonna have to post an escrow,
Yes, we understand.
okay?
The 90, there was a number in here, I saw that, I think 90,000.
no, that 90,000, that's the, by the COA, that's at the end, that's when we
The
get our
escrow
first
is to
CO.
cover my cost, the engineer, the planner, and other costs that could occur going forward. That's,
That won't be a
it's
problem.
similar to a planning board, but a little bit different because there's some
Well, we should decide how
contract.
much we want,
Yep.
okay? We should decide how much we want them to put in, so it's there, and we don't have the problem of having to try to go chase it. So one of the things I'd like to do, if it's okay with the board, and unfortunately, this is going to fall on you, and it's unfortunate because of Joe's financial position, but we've got to get some timetables as to when this building is going to be built. And we're going to have to hold you to some of those timetables, because the borough just can't live with that hole in the ground anymore. So we've got to get the thing built. So and again, let's just make an assumption. Let's say next month at this time, you've got the plans, you've paid in your escrow, you're set to go. How long was it going to take for you to get in the ground? And how long do you anticipate the building to take?
Well, in speaking with the builder, sometimes they oversell, builders will do that. He said this would take between 12 to 15 months to complete the project. So to begin, and again, I don't want to misspeak and I don't want to misrepresent anything that you're going to hold me to, but I'm sure you will. I can, confirm with the builder and provide you with an answer by tomorrow, assuming everything goes well. But I would think, within a few weeks.
Doesn't it depend on the weather?
What was that?
Doesn't it depend on the weather?
Well, yeah,
We get 20
everything's
snowstorms?
weather permitting, of course. But we don't plan on, I think we're using the existing structure, so we're.
Well, you're using what's ever there, I guess,
Yeah,
yeah.
right, exactly.
So can we go another way, and I'll ask the attorney this, can we say we would like them to start in the next 3 months? Something like that, 2 months for every.
Well, what I was going to suggest is the following. Try to come up with a start date,
Okay.
which, if you can get us that information tomorrow or the next day and get it to Karen, I think it's reasonable to say we would like you to start, within 45 days. Okay, but from then on, what I think we're going to want, and this is something we haven't asked for before, is probably 30-day progress reports as to where you are and what's going on.
That shouldn't be a problem.
Okay, just so we can keep track of the project.
And look, we should also go into that, if you're writing that up, if we're holding it back for any reason, then the 45 days wouldn't start until.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
assuming,
Yeah, I would have an agreement, the conditions, these are like the conditions that would be imposed. It would be, you would start within X amount of days of getting the permits. So,
Right.
yeah, that would be the gauge.
Okay.
If I could have a clarification, are the monthly updates that you're asking for, are they in person at these meetings, or are they just talking to Ben? I mean, I'm okay going to Ben.
I think that's sufficient.
I think as long as there's nothing terrible, they can be written reports to Ben. If we review them and think there's something amiss, we'll have you come on. Fair enough?
That seems fair. Fair, good.
And the only other question I have, and no one here can answer, if I want to throw it out there. We have a new administration at the county, I know they signed an agreement with you. I'll ask the attorney, they can't really back off on anything they promised already, correct, from the county?
Well, I'm sorry, the question?
Any arrangements they've worked out with the county, for whatever reason for the project, like when he was building it, should theoretically carry over to the new builder, but do they have the opportunity to say it doesn't have to carry over?
The entity's not
Those are
changing.
the
No,
problems.
the entity, yeah, so it's the same
It'll be
entity,
the
yeah.
same,
The
okay.
same entity, that's why I wanted to clear that. So-
That's the importance of the entity.
No,
Yeah, the
I wasn't sure though with the county, I know for us.
But yeah, as far as the county is concerned, it's the same entity that's gonna be saying, we have a deal,
Okay.
this is the deal.
Questions, board members?
Yeah, I have a couple
Eric?
questions. The Michigan Ave, Main Street, and 7th Avenue projects are all in a redevelopment zone in the city of Patterson? Or
Main Street is the one across from the hospital, that's in the hospital redevelopment zone.
Okay,
The other two are not.
the other two are not. So did you have to, you go from the planning board, or is it, well, for, I guess Michigan is the only one that's been through, right?
Michigan, no, the 7th Ave recently was approved 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, was that the zoning board? or
That was the Board of Adjustments, yes.
That was the Board of Adjustment.
Yes.
And how many units is that?
30,
How many parking spaces do you have on?
35.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're
You probably made Gary very happy. Used to city of Patterson, that you actually have parking.
I love Gary, yeah.
So the buildings that you currently own, do you manage yourself? Do you have a management agency? How do you do that?
I'm involved, but we do have,
Utilize a
I mean,
management
it's just-
agency? And the idea would be that you utilize the same management agency
Yes.
for this property as
Yes.
well? Okay. That's what I wanted to ask, thank you.
Abby, anything?
No.
Ken?
I'm good. I'm good.
Anything else?
And the last thing, I don't know if you've done redevelopment projects, right? Previous where we do the audit, and that's how we come up with the number at the
Right.
end.
Yes.
We've had situations with one developer where they weren't getting us timely audits, and I think that.
Wait, I think you have to preface your question. Do the projects in the redevelopment zone in Patterson, the project that's there, is that a pilot project?
So far, Michigan Ave is, yes.
Is?
Yes.
But they haven't had,
We haven't-
it's
we
not
haven't-
occupied yet.
It's not occupied? No, we haven't had the experience of the audit experience with the town, but in speaking with other developers, I mean, it's sent in on a yearly basis and reviewed and.
Right.
Okay, but remember, it's got to be audited. You need an accounting
No,
firm
of
to
course,
audit.
absolutely. No, we
Okay,
understand.
we've had an issue with that.
It's within certain standards, accounting standards. No, we understand.
Okay. We had a developer that decided they could audit their own,
No,
so, just saying. Okay, so what conditions do we have?
I
I'm
do have
sorry.
one.
Yes, go ahead, I'm
if you don't
sorry.
mind. So the only discrepancy that we had, not discrepancy, I should say, but the only, I think, surprise that I had was the minimum amount, the annual service fee or charge that's expected to be paid during the construction.
This is, the financial agreement, the pilot.
Yes.
Is an agreement with the borough. So they might,
Oh, I see.
they generally know, and I'm very familiar with them personally.
Okay.
But the borough, it's the mayor and council, that's what the financial agreement is with. It's
Okay.
not, you know, that's their contract, their deal.
Thank you.
Who was the board that we signed the, what you did?
And that's why I was bringing up in the beginning that depending on the manner in which you do this transaction, you might have had to have gone to the borough, but because you're just doing it where you transfer the interest in the entity staying the same, you probably don't. I'm not giving you advice, but so that was my point. The financial agreement, that answer comes from that.
Okay.
So that agreement stays in effect with Pompton 5?
It'll stay in effect.
Yeah,
I mean, do we also have to, not that you should answer my question, but do we also have to write to your office, Mr. Mayor? and
No,
to
if you have, it's a signed agreement with Joe right now, which we honor, which will be passed over. Obviously, if you were thinking of changing it in any way, that would be open a can of worms, because then it would go back to be voted on again by the council and mayor. So, it's just my opinion, you would probably want to enjoy the benefit of the signed agreement with them.
Is that the financial agreement?
Yes.
Yep.
No, remember I spoke to you, there was just, the thing that was brought to my attention was, in the financial agreement, the 70,802, that was the previous year's tax.
Yeah.
That was before the building was appealed.
That has nothing to do with us. Nothing to do with
Well,
us. It's nothing to do with the mayor and council.
I didn't know, I don't really know who I signed with what.
You're gonna talk to, if it's a tax appeal involved, you're gonna talk to the tax department.
Right, but I'm just saying the number that was used was the wrong number.
I don't.
Yeah, so it's, well, it's not really, it's important probably the first year only, if you're not fully rented, because the minimum the minimum tax is based on what the thing says in here.
I know nothing
The-
about it.
the
All I can
financial-
tell you is I can hook you up with our attorney, our borough attorney.
Well, more importantly, I just would like to
To speak
request
with
from
them
this
and-
board that, unfortunately, you had a bad experience with me. I don't want him to be, looked upon as you're getting another me. I mean, I know you're not happy with me, but you're sort of treating him like, and I look at it that way, only because of the fact you're saying about we have an agreement, and the agreement did say, the 6 months and the whole 9 yards. I mean, he does want to build. That's why
I get it. I have no problem with that.
We're treating him a fair.
No, I think you're treating him fair. I'm just saying that
I don't know.
I don't want you to think he is gonna buy this over and then he's got to find, not do.
It's okay. I'm not offended by
I think
that.
you're comfortable with our line
No,
of questioning, right?
as long as it's fair, we're gonna
Yeah.
review it, and if it's something we can't comply with, we won't move forward. But we're not gonna invest all this money up front now to fail on a project.
No, I wouldn't, but let me ask you a question based on what you just said.
Yes,
My assumption would be you reviewed all the information.
yes,
You reviewed the financial agreement between Pompton 5 and the borough,
yes.
right? You reviewed the plans and know what you need to build. So there shouldn't be any surprises here.
No surprises, but there was some, I guess, a disconnect on some of the terms that was represented when we entered into the agreement, and then from what we realized in the financial agreement. That's why I raised the question when council correctly stopped me and said it's not an issue before this board. So if it's an issue that I need clarification on,
Right.
because it's a major point, it's not a small item, it's a big item. So
No,
we will,
we-
and it's more
we-
clarification
we
than
recommend
anything
to
else. So I'm not, Mr. Mayor, I'm not looking to.
I'm trying to understand, so the agreement was, when the agreement was written with Pompton 5, their attorneys worked it out with our attorney. That's how the agreement is written. They come to an agreement, and it gets presented to the council and mayor to vote on. That's when they voted yes, and it moves forward from there. There's no changing that agreement after that's voted on. So unless there's a mistake, an actual physical, real mistake that you can prove,
Right.
and the attorney says, yes, it's a mistake.
That's what we're talking
I guess they would address that.
Right.
It would have to be a proven mistake. It's no change in numbers.
Well, and I'm gonna put it on record, and what he's talking about is I was explaining to him the way the taxes are paid. I will.
It's not.
It's not,
I don't
okay.
want to waste your time with it.
All right.
It's just a point we have to clarify. It was a negotiation point. It has nothing to do with your board or even the council. And if we can't agree, then we can't agree.
Well, no,
If I-
that's
if I-
between you guys agreeing.
Correct, yes.
Correct. I mean, the financial agreement is really pretty straightforward as to when the pilot kicks in and how the taxes work. I mean, it's really pretty simple at the end of the day.
You're 100% correct, and I'm just telling you that I actually had called Steve, my old attorney, for him to explain it to me, because I did not, I didn't
Okay, but
understand it.
just so we up here and Mayor, we're all on the same page, okay? We approved the project.
Yes.
We approved the plans. Sal has the plans. They're 95% done.
Correct.
And Pompton 5 agreed to a financial agreement with the borough that's
Correct.
in effect,
100%.
okay? All that's in effect. You've read all that, you know all that. I think we're relatively satisfied you've got the financial means to build this. So anything that's a dispute as to what was represented between the two of you has nothing to do with us. Correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Can I add one more thing, just to contact what you said? We're excited that there's someone here building.
Yes.
We're not fighting this project because it's an eyesore in town and nothing against it. It's
what
an
the heck?
eyesore in town. right
Jump
now.
on it.
So if someone's gonna build it, fix it, we're very excited about that. So that's a good thing for us, not a bad.
I'm sure.
Okay? So,
The conditions that I kind of heard is that,
conditions.
there'll be it's going to be, I would assume prior to construction, there'll be a written agreement with the borough on staging material and equipment during construction. You should set on posting escrow. At times we've had 20,000, something like that. That's your decision.
Is that
We're
for a
gonna
fresh
agree on-
project, though? Is that for like a brand new project?
No, that's for this. I mean, some of the early agreements had, and I don't, again, this goes to your point, not painting him with a bad brush. Some of the early agreements allowed them just to pay as you go, and if you don't, then you're gonna have to post an escrow. And sometimes that, it didn't work out as well as really had been anticipated. The more typical thing is to have an escrow with then what's called an evergreen provision. If it goes down, then you have to re-up it to, if it's 5,000 or 20,000.
But you are right, I
whatever the
mean,
number. So-
there's not gonna be any more engineering.
Right, that's what I'm saying, it's like
It
the
could probably be-
$20,000 covers engineering.
Yeah.
I would think 10 would be
attorney fees that
more
we
reasonable.
aren't gonna have to deal with as part of, taking over the project that's functionally
Agreed.
approved.
So, right now so the second condition would be posting an escrow of $10,000 with an evergreen provision. Timetables will work out, timetables for, submitting for your permits and then commencing construction upon, an X amount of days after receipt of, the permits, and then proceeding diligently and completing within 15 or 18 months or something along the lines. We'll have a number, so there'll be timetables.
And you'll give us that information the next day or two.
Yes.
Yes, I'll work with them because we're gonna have to put this
Yeah, okay.
together. And
Progress report.
30-day progress written reports to be provided to the executive director. Just on, what's going on since then. Those are the ones I have. I don't know if you have the others.
Anything else anybody has?
No, that's it.
Professionals, anything? Ben, anything you want to add to this?
No,
So-
nothing to add to that.
Okay.
So if the timing works, this would be a resolution that would be approved at the next meeting, if that works. That's the best way to do it. I'll have I'll have the agreement where they're gonna, he and his partner are going to sign as the new owner, the new redeveloper. And the resolution will have these conditions. It'll also be in an amended agreement. So we'll amend the agreement, naming them and having a few of these conditions.
Is that okay with you?
That's fine.
So, can I make a
Okay.
point before we go forward? Because I understand that we're gonna effectuate this next agreement.
We have to come up with a date because.
We have to have a new date
Yeah.
because it's during the League of Municipalities.
Yes, but November's always
Special
a,
meeting.
So
Yeah.
why can't we, the special meeting be the new date?
yes,
Correct.
that's what I was going to suggest.
Yes.
Because we have someone else that wants to come next month too, the
Always.
same problem.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but that doesn't affect you. We'll get you a date, okay? It won't be the date, the regular scheduled meeting.
And should we hopefully sooner than later?
Yes, it should be.
I always
it will
think
be
just
soon.
setting specials.
It sounds like all parties
Good
are
doing
motivated
now
to
since
get
everybody's
things
here.
done sooner than
Yes.
later, so.
Any chance we could do it here since everybody's here and they can check availability or no?
Yes, we can, yeah, so why don't we do that now? Take a second?
I'm ready.
Okay.
At least
Find
2
the
weeks from
calendar.
now, because I gotta type
And
it.
this is going to replace the November meeting.
Yes. So Carm, you'll notice this as the new date. We're going to change the date.
I mean, how much time do we really, is this reasonably gonna take to do?
For
This-
me, at the end of next week, I'm sure that he's gonna get me these things. The resolution and the amendment to the agreement would be ready by next Friday.
Yeah, but here's
So
the
anytime.
problem, if it's a regular meeting, we do have the option to have another case presented.
Yes, and that, there's someone that wants to come next
Right, so
week,
it's- yeah.
that I have to give them a date for. How is, when's the league? The 16th?
November
Yeah,
14th to the
16th.
16th.
14th? How about the 9th?
I have a conflict on the 9th, but
I'm available.
I think I should be all right.
9th?
Ninth is good for me.
Right for me.
That's a Thursday.
9th, that's a Thursday, that's keeping it on Thursday. What date's good for you, Eric?
as far as Thursdays go, not great.
Not great?
November 1st works, which is a Wednesday, and we don't have council meetings or
We
anything
can't
like
have
that.
it on
typically.
Wednesday because they have other meetings here. It has to-
Oh.
we
Yeah,
have-
but not typically on
not
the
maybe not
first
the
Wednesday, not
but
the
we
first
we
Wednesday.
try to keep it on a Thursday.
And then that gets
you
it
know.
done sooner than later.
I like that idea.
I'm sure you do. That works for me. Unfortunately, I'm going to be flying out on the 2nd, so the 2nd's an issue for me. The 9th is the issue for me. And again, like I think we kind of know where the stepping grounds are, but
the other
if
option
it's the
is-
2nd, if it's the 9th, and I'm not here, I'm not
The
going to.
16th, we are all back by then.
I won't be back.
You won't be there. Okay.
Andy's kind of a keeper here.
Yeah, we need it.
So I would say the 1st or the 9th.
Up to you
First is
guys.
fine with me.
Either one.
And I've seen some people in the restaurant that I go to, some Pompano Lakes people on Thursday night there too, so I'm just saying.
You think we're okay with the first for this room?
I think we're gonna
You
be.
gotta make sure she's available, so.
Oh, yeah?
Harm?
I don't have my,
Go get it, go get it.
Let me just double check something.
Go get
it
it.
should be right on the desk.
So, is it the first or?
We're waiting to see if Carm's available.
Oh,
Sorry.
She's key. Someone has to.
She's more important than I am, to be honest. I mean, let's be frank.
So we're like, we got the first?
Yes.
Okay, that would be nice.
Is our attendance required
Where?
at the special meeting?
On the first.
Probably, yes.
In case anything silly comes up, you and I will probably have this agreement hammered out, or you're the attorney who's, you're gonna handle it, or, I'm not sure.
Somebody in my office.
Yeah, that should be resolved, so I don't think so, but every once in a while, silly things come up.
There's nothing on the borough calendar for November.
So I'd say somebody ought to be
Okay.
accessible, if nothing else.
When?
November 1st is an open date, so.
Don't get so excited first, that's it. You good?
First of the ninth is good.
Okay, let's do it November 1st.
That sounds
November
good.
1st.
I appreciate everybody's flexibility.
Oh, I appreciate it.
We'll have to check the availability.
Right, you
right
do have
here.
to check on that, just, there might be something here, I don't know.
7:30?
7:30.
I'll check on the calendar and let you know, Andy.
Okay.
Okay. So you guys will work this out?
Yes.
And we'll see you back here, or we'll either approve it on November 1st, or if we have any questions and you can't work it out, I guess you'll be back.
Yes, no problem.
Okay.
Just the number on this, that's all I get.
Yes.
Good year.
Congratulations, John, best of luck.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, good luck.
Thank you.
We are excited, as the mayor said. We really
We
want
are.
to get this built.
And I'm equally excited.
Great.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay. Public discussion. Anyone in the public wishing to address us? Any of the empty chairs?
I have one more thing to add, that's exciting news for the board.
Okay, wait, let's close the public session. Good, we're done.
I don't know if everybody heard, but, the Lakeside Commons building, which was built for about
Oh, I wanted
$7
to-
million, sold, for 21 million.
Holy crap.
Wow.
Wow.
I didn't want to hear you say what you said. But you know, that's exciting news. How old is that building? A couple of years?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. The other thing I saw too today online, and if you want to get an idea of why these apartments are important to build and why redevelopment is important, in Iron Forge, a realtor posted that they just leased an apartment there, a 2-bedroom apartment, $2,800 a month in Ponton Lakes.
Unfortunately, it's getting kind of scary because
It
the
is,
rents
yeah.
are exceeding
Kidding.
what people's incomes
Yep,
are.
no, it's true. That's, you're right.
I think
But
we
things
be
will probably
mindful of that.
change, unfortunately, I mean.
The rental market is just.
Everything's insane.
So,
It's
so
totally
the,
insane right now.
so the, home
But
market.
the great thing about that also is that means those pilots
Because there's
are
not,
gonna be more
I mean, there's
thought.
not
Yes.
enough.
The rents are way more
Yeah.
than jacking up. Yep.
Because of zoning regulations in every municipality in the state of New Jersey. That's what comes
so I
down
have a
to.
question about the date you just picked.
Uh-oh.
Does this, and I'm fine with it, but does this affect anybody who's trying to come into a meeting where they have to do any kind of noticing or reaching out to anyone?
It's not, I don't think here they have to notice, they have to provide you guys with plans in advance for them to be able to rationally talk
So
about
that's,
it.
you know, we
Is there a
can,
formal application coming
I
in?
don't know, you tell me.
No, it's not. So there's really.
And really, there's no noticing required before the redevelopment agency. It's really, they can't give a
No, that's why
rational
they-
review of it unless they have it a certain time in advance.
You wanna do it
Is the,
first.
for that meeting, it's just this item?
No,
There's
No,
a
but
regular meeting, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, it's a regular meeting?
Well, it's gonna be a special.
But it's
It's
special,
a redone.
But there's an application, like a semi-application involved,
I
right?
don't know, is there, I don't know.
What want to come back? Baskin,
Conceptually.
No, that's gonna have to wait.
so. The ninth would have been better. Okay, let's leave it at the first for this special meeting on
We'll
the
have 2
first.
meetings in November?
Meeting.
No, we have a special, and this is
Maybe one
gonna
of
be
these.
on
Yeah.
it right now. I think that's.
Yeah, let's call it a special, in case and then we can cancel the regular.
Yes.
And then we can cancel the regular if we need to. Okay?
Are they coming with plans, or are they just?
These guys?
Yeah.
No, their plans are approved, they're
Plans
done.
are approved.
So then they're just talking money, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just,
Cross
Right.
effectuate.
So we're not needed.
I don't think so.
No.
So that was my
Not if
next
it's
question, is this meeting then that we're having September 1st for him, just him, and then we're closing the meeting down and that's it? Or if somebody else wants to come in, we're letting them into that?
if someone had something they wanted to bring before us.
Well, first of all, that affects the professionals, we gotta let that.
Yeah, I will let
Yeah,
you
that's
know.
what we were just talking
We'll let you know. As of right now, this will be the only thing.
Alright. So if it's just,
Okay.
then we're not here.
Okay,
Okay,
motion to adjourn.
well, I just wanted to,
What? Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot something too.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, we had talked, back in August about a design concept.
And I actually talked to Tom about it, and I slipped my mind. We want to appoint I want to appoint a subcommittee of Tom and Abby, to do a design standard. Debbie mentioned this to us. I think you guys did a design standard in, one of the shore towns, Point
Oh,
Pleasant.
yep.
And we'd like to do something similar to that in Pompton Lakes.
Yep.
Debbie said she would be glad to work with a subcommittee. So, I'll get in touch with Debbie and we can set something up.
So you'll get in touch with?
Yep.
Okay, great,
And tell her that we finally have the committee, because, thank you for reminding me, I
thank you. Fine.
spending too much time on cruise ships.
Oh, man.
My mind.
That's a tough life, right?
Yeah.
Tough life.
Okay, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Good, thank you.
That kind of meeting.
Actually took a little longer than I thought it was going to.